Our names are Sheena Montgomery and Avira Medina Postovsky from the Student Services Mental Health Team, and we are happy that you are spending time with us today. So we invite you to join the chat, type your first name, your child's grade level, and a word that describes how you feel today. Let's see who's in our chat. Let us know how you're feeling today by typing it in the chat. So today I feel great. I feel excited that you guys are here, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to share some resources with you. Mary, so she's feeling thankful today. Right. Thanks for sharing, Mary. Anybody else would like to share how they're feeling? Oh, we have someone feeling exhausted. Camille, we're sending some hearts to you. We hope that you're feeling a little better after the presentation. Anybody else would like to share? All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Someone said, thank you for this opportunity. All right, so here are directions on how to participate for today. To ask questions, you're going to type the question in the chat and send to everyone, and we will monitor the chat for questions. To share, raise your hand using the hand icon. We will select a few participants to share out during activities, and you will be muted, unmuted when your name is called. And to provide feedback, you're going to use the megaphone icon. We love seeing your reaction. To respond to polls, you're going to select preferred answer. And then you're going to submit, and then we are able to see your responses, but not your names.
Okay, so this is Elvira. Hello. So here are some of our expectations and commitments to you. We expect that you will participate using the chat. As we said, your microphones are muted to avoid background noises. So we're going to be reading the chat aloud. Remember, it's being recorded. So to put information about your children or specific situations, no private or sensitive information. We can see what you're writing in the chat. We'll read it aloud. And then we are also committing to be positive, to be present, to reflect and share, and to be kind. In the chat, take a look at the commitments and you can put down one of them. Which one would you like to commit to? So I would love to commit to be kind. Let's see what we have. Everyone should be able to see chat at this point. Let's see anybody that wants to be positive, present, reflect, share, or be kind. Be present. Thank you, Mary. If you're using a phone, you may not be able to see the chat. That's okay. But if you can, we would like you to participate. Okay? So let's keep going. I have a lot of good stuff ready for you. We're going to do an activity. Oh, no, not yet. We need to go. We do the agenda? Our agenda go. We'll do that in a minute. Okay. So Let's use the chat. We're going to read a poll question and you're going to answer yes or no. So go to the chat. Here's our first question. I had coffee this morning. Yes? You just click on the left. Yes or no. I'm going to give you a few seconds. Record your answer. And let's close the poll. These are quick questions. Let's see. Many of you had coffee this morning.
Drum roll. All right.
There you go. Okay. So we have 14 out of the 19 people that had coffee. It's okay. Not all of you have to like coffee, and that's differences of taste. That's okay. Now let's go to the next question. So our next question is, I want my children to be kind to others. Yes or no? Let's give you a few seconds to answer. I want my children to be kind to others. Yes or no? Okay, let's close the poll. Let's see.
Wow.
Okay, pretty good, more than half. And we have a lot of people that are not answering. We're assuming that you're on the phone and you cannot do it. It's okay. Let's do the next question. I want my children to solve conflicts with others. Yes or no? Give you a few seconds. Yes or no? Children to solve conflicts with others. Okay, let's close the poll. Let's see. Again, we have 12 out of 20. Terrific. And the rest don't have access to the chat. It's okay. Let's do the last question. I do not want my children bullied. I do not want my children bullied. Yes or no? Give you a few seconds. Couple of seconds and close the poll. Let's see. There you go. The ones that answered, most of all do not want our children bullied. So basically, these poll questions show us that there are some things that you all agree upon, and that is how we're connected today. So we appreciate that you share your values, your feelings, your preferences, and let's start learning together. So this is our agenda. We are going to be talking about the three things we talked about: interpersonal competencies. That includes having healthy relationships. We're going to talk about how to manage conflicts and respond to bullying. And then we're going to get you ready for the last part. So let's start with our pillars of social emotional learning. So Orange County Public Schools teaches and helps students learn the competencies, the skills that they need to have healthy relationships and get along with others and make good decisions, have good understanding themselves well. And we have organized them in three columns: the intrapersonal, which is the orange, the interpersonal, which is the green, and the decision making. The intrapersonal includes self-awareness and self-management. Interpersonal includes social awareness and relationship skills. And the yellow one is responsible decision making. Today, we're concentrating on the green pillar, the green column. So let's start by talking about it. So here are the competencies that we need to get along with other people. And these interpersonal competencies include having good relationships, managing the personal conflicts, resisting negative influences, and standing up for others. So if a child knows how to respect others' perspective, shows empathy, passion, and concern for others, that child is well liked. These skills make it easier to collaborate with each other during their academic work, in the playground, your neighborhood, and at home. It is normal to face interpersonal conflicts, even with the people you love. When your child knows how to resolve conflicts, how to resist negative peer pressure, how to offer support and stand up for others, they develop healthy and positive friendships. And we have included a lot of handouts for you, including one with these castle competencies in English and Spanish. Okay. Now, we're going to watch a video. If you have problems with the audio, do not worry. We are including the links so that when you get the PowerPoint, you can go and view the videos on your own. Let me upload them for you. Oh, okay. So, in the chat, which of the suggestions caught your attention? Write one of the ideas that you got from the video. Let's see. So did you notice that they talk about paying attention to what's positive about them and help them feel proud of their abilities? Did you notice that they talk about recognizing the strengths, talk about how these strengths help their friendships? Love the boundary setting. Oh, awesome. Thank you. So talk about when you feel uncomfortable about the relationships, to share with them how you feel, why you feel uncomfortable about their relationships. Being specific about good relationships, yes. And then teach them to apologize if they cross a boundary or they have a conflict with another. So we have included handouts from the Center for Parent and Teen Communication. One of them is giving you some tips to communicate about emotions, and the other one is a script for you to use to talk with them about relationships. We hope that those are helpful to you. Let's go to the next strategy. So we want to share with you some strategies for healthy relationships. We have two specific ones that we're going to teach you. The first one comes from the Aperture Parent Portal. Aperture is partnering with Orange County Public Schools to support students' social and emotional well-being. And this strategy is called Healthy Relationships Inventory. It's used to identify the characteristics of a healthy relationship and people in the life of your children that demonstrate those relationships. So we have included a T-chart. It's called a T-chart. It has two sides, but you can use a piece of paper, fold it in half, and on the left side, you put down what helps in a relationship. And we listed some of the characteristics in the video, like being respectful or having compassion or showing empathy. And then on the right side, they put down the person in their family that shows that ability. For instance, in compassion, well, cousin Abby shows compassion. So when your child comes to you and they say, I'm having a hard time because I have this friend in school, he's not very compassionate, you can say, well, you know what? In your list, you put down that cousin Abby is really good with compassion. Why don't we give her a call and you can talk to her about ideas? So that helps you, number one, because they identify good qualities of a relationship and the people around them that are really good at it. And then it makes the relationship they have with that particular person stronger, because now they're going to them to talk about how can I also learn how to be compassionate. And post this and have it ready for them to remind them all the important people in their lives that have good relationships with them. The other one is called respecting the ideas of others. So we need to be able to understand that not everybody has the same ideas, the same beliefs, and that's okay. So this strategy comes from the Do to Learn, which is a great website that has a lot of resources for parents. And you have the link in your handouts. So you use this respecting the ideas of others activity when you have the time to discuss the disagreements. Not going to use it when they're in the middle of a disagreement with each other between two siblings or you and them. You're going to use it when they're calm, you're teaching the strategy, and then they can practice it when they're in the middle of a disagreement. So again, you fold it, and then on the left side, you list what helps if you are not in agreement and you want them to respect the point of view of another person. So you listen to what they say, and you let them know you appreciate their point of view. But what does not help? If they're rolling their eyes or if they are interrupting, that does not help. So you post this, and when you're in the middle of, the disagreement between two siblings, you can say, well, look at the poster. What helps to solve your disagreement? What does not help to solve the disagreement? And you always practice and teach it before they have a disagreement. Okay? So we're going to watch one more video. This is going to tell us some strategies to use when they're in the middle of the disagreement. Before, but when they're in the middle. We upload the video. If you cannot hear the video, don't worry, because the videos are in your handouts and you will be able to see them later. Okay, so the video helped us and reminded us that disagreements and conflicts are part of life. They happen to everyone, and they make us feel frustrated and angry and upset. And when we are mad, we may try to blame others, say hurtful words, yell. That doesn't help. It can get heated, it snowballs into a big conflict, and then other people get hurt. Their feelings get hurt, or God forbid, you know, basically hurt. So when we need to learn to manage disagreements in a healthy way so that no one get hurt. So these are the steps that he was talking about. We made a little chart for you and you have it in your handouts. So just stop. Think about the situation and recognize your emotions. Watch your words. Once you say it, you can't take it back. Nice words, calm voice, no put down, mean comments, don't blame. Listen up. It's hard to listen when you're upset. Listen to the why the other person is upset. Let them know you're listening to understand them. Then find a solution. Each person will stay calm, interrupt, pitch a fit, come up with solutions. No one is going to get everything they want, but you compromise. Those are the steps. So this is when you're in the middle of the disagreement. Again, you teach these steps before they are in a conflict. So when they're in the conflict, they can practice them. Let's go to the next strategy. So put down in the chat a quick question. When do you practice these steps? Let's see if anybody caught that. When do you practice the steps? Anybody? Practice it in the middle of the conflict? Or do you practice it before? You teach it before, you practice it before. So when they're in the conflict, they can then use it. Okay. Now we're gonna watch one more video and Sheena is gonna take it over. Let me load the video.
to because the way that we handle conflict and bullying is so different. In conflict, like we
All right, now that we talked a little bit about conflict, managing conflict and bullying, knowing the differences, we're going to continue on and talk a little further about bullying. Previously, we discussed strategies on managing disagreements, correct? So we all have them. We all have conflict. It's normal, and it definitely challenges us to grow. It definitely challenges us to grow and develop our interpersonal skills. So understanding the differences between conflict and bullying is very important so that you can support your child in identifying when bullying is happening, which also goes back to having healthy relationships. So now we're going to take a look at the chart and look further at the differences between conflict and bullying. As you can see, conflict, it involves a disagreement or it's a disagreement or an argument in which both sides just express their views. There's equal power between those involved, and they actually seek to resolve the disagreement. In normal conflict, children, they're guided by empathy. So once they realize that they have hurt someone, they stop the negative behavior. When a child is bullying others, they intentionally hurt, harm, or humiliate others. So the person bullying actually has more power and continues to, harm the person even when they know it's hurting them. So the intention and the imbalance of power would be a key factor to determine the difference between conflict and bullying. So it's important to help your child point out these differences so that they would not be a target of bullying and that they are actually empowered to stand out against it. And we will have some handouts at the end to assist you with being able to learn more about this. So bullying is definitely something that is important. It's a behavior that impacts families all around the world and the relationships that they have with others. It can play a huge role in whether or not your child actually feels safe and respected and valued at home and in school. And there, according to research, 1 out of 5 students report being bullied. In 2005, Jeffrey Johnson, this young man that you see on the screen, he died by suicide after being repeatedly harassed and bullied online for 2 years, which resulted in a law coming into effect in 2008, which is now known as the Jeffrey Johnson Stand Up Act for all students. So we know that this is something very serious, and we have a law to protect students. And we know that this bullying can occur in any settings, and it can happen to anyone. So stopping bullying is a team effort, and all school staff, parents, everyone plays a critical role in addressing and actually responding to bullying. Because we just definitely want to make sure that our kids are being able to learn in a safe environment. So we do have a policy, OCPS have a policy on bullying and harassment that you can view and learn later about this policy later on in the presentation. And it also goes over like the definitions of bullying. It talks about the processes for reporting and what type of behavior is expected, from students and school staff. And anytime that there's a bullying incident, we have our discipline department, our Title IX department. They do an investigation and they actually address the bullying situation. So let's talk a little bit about strategies for responding because we want to make sure that we're, maintaining healthy relationships with our children. And that involves communicating with your child about different difficult situations, such as bullying. So parents, you love your children and you feel that it's your job to protect them. And if you ever find out that your child is being bullied, you may get upset, you may feel angry, you may feel frustrated, and you may not know how to even start the conversation. Well, I just want to assure you that that is definitely a normal reaction to have as a parent, and it's not always easy to have this conversation, but it is necessary. So you must talk about it. We have to talk about it. So we want to give you some strategies to help you to support your child and create that safe environment when it's time to talk about it. All right. So when you're talking to your child, if you know that they're being bullied, you want to be supportive. Children may not be ready to open up right away, as they are too dealing with the emotional effect of bullying. So you want to make sure that you're there for them, remind them that it's not their fault, and that they're not to blame, and that it's never okay, as we talked about. It's a law, it's prohibited. You want to listen to them without judgment. Let them tell their story and learn as much as you can about the situation. You want to let them know that you are there for them and that you want to help and encourage them to talk about it. And then also, you want to discuss ideas on how they want to handle the situation and make a plan for the next step. So, identify others who may be able to help. Talk to them about like school counselors, teachers, any adults, on campus that they could talk to, if they ever are experiencing bullying. So now let's take a look at some communication strategies for responding if your child is actually witnessing bullying. Witnessing bullying can be definitely extremely emotional for children as well. And so we want to make sure that you reassure them that you're telling an adult is the first positive step. And we know that telling is not tattling, so we want to make sure they understand that, sure that they can make a positive difference. We want to also work together to make a plan if your child is comfortable with using to respond to bullying incidents in the future, and reinforce that they should never participate in or supporting bullying, and encourage them to be supportive and kind to the student being bullied, and explain why telling an adult is a good idea. Here you see the student action plan against bullying, and we want to encourage, your students that are witnessing bullying, whether it's online or in person. We want to make sure that we empower them to actually be an upstander. A bystander is someone who just sit around and they don't intervene, but an upstander is someone that will stand up if they see it happening. They stop, they interrupt, or they speak up to stop the bullying. So teaching your child to be an upstander, it helps them to have healthy relationships with others, empowering them to take a stand and an action against bullying. And it can make a huge difference for the person who is being bullied. And also it can help them in their relationship skills and personal skills. So it helps them to, develop positive relationships, communicate effectively, show leadership, and not be able to yield to negative social pressures. So this is a great tool that you can use to talk to your child about taking a stand against bullying, and there's a plan, and it will guide you through the process, which will also be um, provided for you in the presentation. So strategies for empowering your child to be an upstander, you just have to let them know like they're powerful, just the way they are, and that they should not be joining in, but you want to encourage them to show support for the student that is being bullied. If your child is showing or doing bullying, showing bullying behavior, we don't want you to panic. We want you to make sure you take a deep breath and find an appropriate time to address and have this discussion about it. We don't focus on the behavior, and we want to focus on the behavior and refrain from using labels, because we know that bullying is a behavior and that a behavior can be changed. So we want you to talk to your child and try to understand their feelings and be patient, and always reach out for help if needed. Another resource that we have is called the Bullying Prevention 101. It's a quick guide for parents that you could use to educate yourself on how bullying is defined, the roles involved, and it just gives helpful tools to address bullying. So this is a great tool to look at to prepare yourself to equip you so you can educate yourself on the process and you can feel confident when you're talking with your child about bullying. Another resource too is about the plan. We talked a little bit about the plan, but this is an action plan to help guide you through the process when you're sitting down to talk with your child so you can think clearly because sometimes your emotions are so high at the moment and you want to be able to have a guide so you can think clearly. So this action plan as well, the parent action plan is something that you can use to sit down to talk with your child and also it helps you to collaborate with the school as well, the school district so that way we can actually work as a team to address it and resolve the issue as soon as we can. This will also be included in your handout. And last but not least, these are a few additional resources that you can use or your target of bullying. So that way you can be able to identify if your child is actually being bullied. That's your cheat sheet for you. We have a pamphlet on how to tell an adult which is something that a lot of times parents say, you should tell an adult, but you don't know how to tell them how to tell an adult, like what to actually say. So this handout is very important and it will guide you to making sure that you are communicating effectively and telling them how to tell an adult. And then we have the cyberbullying, what parents should know about it, because cyberbullying is definitely happening, especially in this time where kids are using electronics and they are using technology more than ever now. So this is a guide that will have you everything you need to know, and it's from PACER, National Bullying Prevention Center. So we encourage you to take time out. I know that we have limited time to go into details, but these resources are included in the handouts, and we are working to stand up and provide information and awareness on bullying prevention. And just a few things, just know that our schools are participating in activities as well. We also, again, have the bullying and harassment policy that you can learn more information about. Just go to www.ocps.net. You're going to click on the school board tab, policies, and then ADD Safe Schools link. And you will be able to learn as much information as you need to know, but know that we're here to help. Know that we're here to support you and your child. And again, we thank you so much for just coming out today to learn some strategies.
So we're shorting time for questions, but we want you to make sure that you have, we wanted to show you one more thing important. The Student Support Services Department has, under the Mental Health Services, which is the department Sheen and I work under, we have a mental health helpline for parents every day of the week, Monday through Friday from 8 to 3:30, and you can call with mental health questions. And the last part, you will see on the chat some questions. Take the poll. It will help the professional development department to determine what your needs are and if this was helpful or not. We thank you very much for being with us. You'll get access to the PowerPoint, the links, and the handouts in the electronic file. Have a wonderful afternoon.
those of you who are still with us for sharing your feedback and for joining us for this session. We have additional parent and family engagement as well as other outreach events happening soon. This week, be sure to check out the bilingual Navigating the OCPS Parent Guide session on November 17th. On December 2nd, there will be an Age 360 Lunch and Learn on digital parenting. Then on December 8th, we have a workshop on building a network of support at your school designed for families of students participating in ESE, and a bilingual workshop on dealing with challenges and identifying community resources. Finally, on December 9th, we will have an Engage Lunch and Learn, which focuses on addressing depression going into the holidays and mental health. You can register for these events on the OCPS Facebook page. Thank you again for attending the Parent Academy and have a great afternoon.